was gonna dive into the parts, but I haven't done a garage door race in a while. They're both open. I kind of got to do one. Ooh, it's closer than I thought it would be, considering how long it's been since I've done one, but didn't get it. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's a pretty exciting day because all of the, well, no, not all. I'm gonna say like 99% of the parts I'm gonna need to bag this thing are sitting right here on the table. I was waiting for a big shipment on parts. They just came in a few days ago. I just got back from a work trip yesterday, and I'm gonna go through all the parts, tell you what they are, what they do, where they're going, all that stuff. As you can see, my entire workbench is full of parts, and they will all be going on the car, hopefully over the next 3 to 4 days. I'm most excited because I bought the car back in November, and all I've wanted to do since I bought it was bag it and put it on the ground, and I finally get to do that this week. As long as there's no snags, as long as I don't break anything, as long as there's no parts that come up that I can't get, this car will be done and hopefully at a car show this Saturday. The car show I'm hoping it makes it to is Street Car Takeover Kickoff Party, which was supposed to happen like 2 weeks ago, but it got rained out, so they pushed it back, which means I might actually have time to finish the car and take it to the show I originally wanted to take it to. It just happened to work out like that, which is awesome. So here's all the parts I'm going to be using to bag the Mercedes and refresh a lot of the suspension components that I'm sure are original and 31 years old. With 195,000 miles on them, just like every single bushing, control arm, everything is original to the car. And with that many miles, those things have been bad for a while. So this car should ride completely night and day, 1000% different at the end of the week once all these parts are on. Now I'm going to run through all of the parts, tell you what they are, why I bought them, where I got them, and all that stuff. So here we go. All right, we're going to start with the big white boxes, all of these boxes, all of these little guys right here, all of this stuff right here. For all of these parts, I want to give a special shout out to my friends over at Dorman Products in Pennsylvania. They heard what I was doing with the Mercedes. They knew I was looking to replace all the suspension components that are really old, all the bushings, all of that stuff. And they reached out and said, hey, we probably make all the stuff you're going to need to replace all that. And I said, really? And they said, yep. So shout out to Dorman Products for reaching out and working with me on this project. They sent over some awesome products I'm going to be putting on the car, and it will ride 1 million times better because of it. I can't just throw bags on a 30-year-old suspension and expect it to work out. I can't wait to open up all the boxes. I've opened up a few of them. They look like really nice pieces. Can't wait to get them on the car. But yeah, shout out to Dorman. These next few boxes are all from them, and this is going to change the whole way the car feels when I'm driving it. All right, we're going to kick it off with front lower control arms. There we go. That is heavy duty. This is the front lower control arm. It's got brand new bushings, front, rear, and then a brand new ball joint right there. I got a left lower control arm, a right lower control arm, and then some bushings for other parts of the suspension up front. And then we have like 10 boxes for the rear suspension. It's kind of ridiculous, and I'll explain why. So on the W124s, they have something called 5-link suspension. 5-link. It's really German, really over-engineered, and unnecessary if you ask me, but that's what they have, so that's what I'm doing. 5-link means there's 5 different points where the chassis meets the spindle. A camber link, a push link, a pull link, a toe link, and then a lower control arm. So 5 different points where the spindle connects to the chassis. It's ridiculous. So 5 different points and bushings on either end. That's 10 different bushings that can go bad and have gone bad over the last 31 years on the car. And here's the boxes right here. Let's see, what is this one? It just says control arm, but this is one of the links right here. What else we got? There's literally 8 of these, and then lower control arms. So brand new bushings on either end. It's never the actual link that goes bad, it's always the bushings, but after 31 years and 195,000 miles, these are going to be really nice to have. Now all of them are different shapes and sizes because they all do different things, and here's just a couple of them right here, but there are 4 of these on either side of the suspension, which is kind of ridiculous and overkill, but since they're all there and since I know all these bushings are bad, I'm just going to replace them all, get it over with, and have the whole suspension refreshed for the brand new bags and all that. It's another link, looks similar, but it's different. There we go. So that is all 4 of the links, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mixing up some boxes. But 4 links on either side in the rear, the 2 front lower control arms, and then a few bushings where the actual control arm or one of the links meets the spindle itself. The spindle has a bushing, but all the parts I just showed you, both lower control arms, all 4 of the bushings I'm replacing, and then all 8 of the links are all from Dorman. Again, shout out to them for working with me on the project. This thing is going to ride like a whole different car once I get done. And the parts they sent over has a lot to do with that. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about my front shocks. I got Bilsteins. They are beautiful, and they look huge when you get them out of the box. Okay, this freaking huge thing. These are my front shocks. They are Bilstein B8 shocks. And to go along with the 2 brand new Bilstein shocks, I got new top hats for it. And these are a little different from regular W124 top hats. So these are front suspension top hats for an R129 Mercedes, which is the old school 80s, 90s convertible. Now, why some guys choose these for their W124s instead of the stock ones is this little top part right here. I'll actually show you guys the difference when I bring the car back in, but just to go over it real quickly, normally on a W124 top hat, this would be capped off right here, and none of this would be here, which is about another inch of travel. I don't know why they're different on an R129, but they are, and because of this little inch right here, that means when you air out the car, the shock body has about another inch it can travel up before it bottoms out, essentially making the car lower. So a lot of the guys that bag W124s get these to make the front go lower to the ground. So of course, when I heard guys were doing that, I'm going to get those too. So I got 2 of those R129 top hats to go along with the Bilstein front shocks. Right here we have my rear shocks. Now these are KYB shocks. Part number is 344430. And they're actually the front shocks to a Nissan Pathfinder from like the 80s and 90s. Legit, that's what they are. The reason I'm going with those is on these S124, the Mercedes wagons, all of them have this thing called self-leveling suspension in the rear, and you can't just put a regular shock from a W124 in the rear to replace it. You have to get something else. So a lot of the guys that have bagged them have tried different shocks from different makes and models of cars to get like the right travel and the right ride out of it, so it's not too bouncy and whatnot. And I've gotten a whole lot of recommendations from guys on what they use, but decided to go with these, try them out. Like I said, they're Nissan Pathfinder front shocks for, I can't remember the years, it's like 87 to 93 or something like that. So if they don't ride exactly how I want them to, I can always get different shocks. But these were so cheap, I figured I'd try them out, see how I like them, and go from there. Up next, all these black powder coated pieces are from friends up north in Canada from Commonwealth Chassis Works. If you go look up bag kits for a W124, S124, W201, R129, anything like that, you will find their kits pop up because they're pretty much the only guys that do them. This is the rear lower control arm that replaces the stock lower control arm. Right here, there's a tie rod that screws into that. So it attaches here, and then the bag sits right there, just like that. And then we have these plates that mount to the front lower control arms, and then cups right here for the rear and front right there. Again, all those parts right there are from Commonwealth Chassis Works. If you have an S124, W124, W201, or an R129, there might be a couple more, but if you have any of those chassis and you want to bag it, hit them up. I actually hit them up today to ask, do you guys have any like instructions or anything like that, or is it pretty straightforward? And he went through all the things that I might get snags on like within 5 minutes since I messaged him. So really great guys up there. If you're going to bag one of these cars, hit them up. Their kits are great. And then we have the bags. We have 4 Slam Specialties SS5 bags. They're rated to 250 PSI, and I think they have 8 inches of travel. I might be off on that. But these are the bags that Commonwealth Chassis Works recommends to use with their kit, and it's the reason why I got them. So 4 of those, and then if you guys have been following for a little while, you know that I lost one of the corner markers on the Mercedes, and I decided to go with some smoked ones. So I even got some new corner markers for the car. Those will go on, they'll be like the last piece after the car's bagged and on the ground. All right, so we're officially ready to put the car up on jack stands and not put it back down until I have air in the bags. But before I do that, there is something I want to do, which is measure the fender to ground front and rear on this car. If you're an old school Mark IV kid, you know exactly what the term fender to ground means, but if you're not, this is what it is. Fender to ground is the measurement from the top of the fender well right here to the ground. I normally go from the fender straight through the center cap just to make it easy. So I'm going to measure front and rear, see what the fender to ground is, and I'm going to compare that to how high I can make the suspension with all the air in the bags after it's done. So take my tape measure. All right. Through the center cap. What are we looking at? What is that? 26 3/4. 26 3/4 front. And then we got 27 3/4 rear. All right, got them written down. 26 3/4 front, 27 3/4 rear. That's what we're looking at for fender and ground on the car with stock suspension. Hopefully it's not too much lower because my driveway does suck to get in and out of. Right now this thing does it just fine because it's stock and it's really high. So I'm hoping it doesn't get too much lower after it's bagged. So I still want to be able to get in and out of my driveway, go over speed bumps, but I want to be able to lay it out when I park it, which is kind of the whole point of bags and why I like them so much. Before I forget, let me show you guys the difference in the top hats on the suspension real quick between a R129 and a S124 or W124. So this is the stock top hat right here, and this is the R129 top hat. The top mounting point for the shock is right at the base of this right here, which would be right there. So there's probably over an inch of more of travel for the shock when you air out. And this is an OEM replacement part. It's nothing fancy. There's no custom work. This is simply just an R129 front suspension mount, and it bolts right into the same place as the stock mount. So if you're trying to go low, you're bagging your car, this is a great option. All right guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I just wanted to go over all the parts. I'm now going to put it up on jack stands. I'm going to spray every single nut and bolt that I think I'm going to touch with PB Blaster just to break it up a little bit. Let it sit overnight, and then I'm going to come back in the morning and start working on it. So thank you guys very much for watching. Next video will be this thing getting worked on and hopefully bagged. I want to get it done this week so I can take it to the show on Saturday. There's only a couple things I can think of that might prevent the car from making it to the show on Saturday. One of which would be if I break something while I'm taking it apart or putting it together and I can't get the part in time. But I'm hoping I can get it all done this week, take the car to the show, and just enjoy it for the rest of the summer. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you get a notification every time I drop a new video. Next video should be this thing on the ground. We'll see you guys in the next one. Later.